It's okay. We'll come later on.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। So, namaste to everyone. As you all very well know, the subject of this midday morning class during this camp will be Kaivalya Upanishad. Can I have some more volume, please? Upanishad, any Upanishad for that matter, the knowledge that it imparts is Ashcharya. It is the most wondrous and amazing Vidya. It is just out of this world. The knowledge that it is going to impart to us is something that is totally indispensable in our life. Our life cannot be successful, it will not be complete without the Vidya or the knowledge which Upanishads imparts. See, all the Upanishads in their own way first underlines its importance, because unless you know the value of it, unless one knows how important it is, one will not be able to apply oneself seriously and sincerely to it. And therefore, it is necessary to know quite clearly as to what importance Upanishad or this Vidya have in our life. In fact, it is a choiceless choice. There is no choice as to whether I should pursue or know what Upanishad is. Just as is there a choice as to should I be happy or not? Should I be at peace with myself or not? Should I have freedom in my life or not. Just as this is choiceless, and we are constantly struggling for this. We are constantly working for it. And that is why it is choiceless. Similarly, there is no choice in knowing the Vidya or knowing what Upanishad is going to say. In fact, our life doesn't proceed really without, we think that it is going on, but life is not merely whiling away time. It is not merely aging, but it is growing. It is maturing. And that, to be very precise, begins only with this knowledge. It is very beautifully worded by Shvetashwadar Upanishad in a beautiful mantra, which underlines the importance of this knowledge. You all must very well be knowing about it, but still, we are discussing it together. There is a beautiful verse, mantra, Yada charmavad akasham veshtayishyanti manavaha tada devam avijnaya dukkhasya anto bhavishyati. Which means that when human being will be successful in covering the space with leather, then will he be successful in bringing about an end to his unhappiness. Is it possible? Is it possible to cover the sky with leather? No matter how much I strive and for how long, it's never going to be possible. So it's a very peculiar way in which Upanishad is saying this, that just as it is an impossible task to cover the space with leather, similarly, or so is the attempt to be happy without this knowledge. Another Upanishad, Kenopanishad, makes it very clear. There is a beautiful mantra there which says, Iha ched avedit atha satyam asti. If you know it now, if you know it here and now, then you have made it. And if you do not do it, mahati vinashtihi. How much is the loss? Great, infinite is the loss. If you do not know it now, now means here, in this very life. In this very life, if you do not know this, then the loss is infinite. Why? There can always be a question that we'll do it later. We can postpone it for another life or to the time when we grow old or whatever. This doesn't work. There is no postponing. It's not advisable to postpone because we do not know about tomorrow. We have a tendency to waylay things, to postpone it for later. But if we do not know it now, then there is no guarantee for tomorrow. There is no guarantee, as they say, that whether the words which are trying to come out, will they actually be articulated or not? We do not know. Why? Because that is not in our hands. So, it is advisable and pragmatic. It is pragmatic to make the most of our time and do the task now itself. In this very Upanishad, which we will be seeing, Kaivalya Upanishad, here also, in the very first verse, the student himself will say, will approach the teacher, we will be doing all that, but he will be saying that please teach me Brahma, which please teach me this Brahma Vidya. Why should I teach you? He only makes it very clear. Yaya chirat sarva papam vyapohya parat param purusham yati vidwan. It is by this knowledge alone that one crosses over all the sins. And the mother of all the sins is what? Ignorance. Ignorance is the prime cause from which arises all other small and big sins. And so, there is no option for this. As I said, it is a choiceless choice. Because we are constantly working for it. We are constantly struggling for happiness every moment. And can anyone say that I don't want it? It's okay, I don't want happiness. Not only do we want happiness, but for how long do we want it? 1 minute, 2 minutes, how long? Forever. We are very greedy and very clear about it that we want it every moment. And Upanishad is an answer to that. It is a key to happiness. It is a panacea for all our problems, all our struggles. This must be very clear. We think that this is clear to us, but it is more often than not that clear. And as Sanat Kumara says very well, pramado vai mrityuhu aham bravimi. Pramada, waylaying this, postponing this, not being clear about this, itself is mrityu. Itself is death. The main death will come in its own course, sooner or later. But if we don't utilize, if we don't direct our life to this pursuit directly, then it is nothing but mrityu every moment. We may not realize this, but it is nothing but that. And so, there is no choice in knowing the Upanishad. The very word Upanishad shows what it is. The very word declares as to what this knowledge is, what is the subject matter and the kind and the manner in which it is going to work and what it will accomplish. All this is very well stated by the very word Upanishad. Those who know a little bit of Sanskrit, for them it will be, they must be knowing this. But let me show this to you very quickly. This word Upanishad, the Sanskrit words are very beautiful. From the root and the prefixes and suffixes, etc., which they attach to that, from that when the word is derived, it is pregnant with meaning. So, let us see what this word itself means. The word has 4 things. The word Upanishad has 4 things in it. One is the verbal stem sad, to which 2 prefixes are attached, upa and ni. And the dhatu, the verbal stem sad. And it is followed by the suffix a, which we saw in short. There are 4 things involved in making this word Upanishad. First of all, let us see the word, the prefix upa. What does this prefix upa means? It means the knowledge, it means samipya, it means closeness. So this knowledge is regarding, it is about something which is close, something which is near, something which is proximate. But how proximate? This thing, this case is near to me than what you are. And nearer to this case is my arms, etc. But this near itself is a relative word. What is meant by upa here is absolute closeness, absolute proximity. So this upa prefix resolves into the self. There cannot be anything more close, more near than the self. So the prefix upa shows that this knowledge is about the very self. Okay. And then comes the prefix ni. What does this prefix indicate? It indicates upa plus ni. What does this ni means? Ni means definite. Ni means nishchitam, which means the knowledge that it will impart will be without any vagueness, without any doubts. It will be crystal clear knowledge, provided you understand it, provided you deliberate upon it, and then it will be nishchitam jnanam. And nishchitam jnanam is the name of the game. If anything that we know is fraught with doubts, vagueness, suspicion, it doesn't work. Supposing there is an object right before me, but if the light is not enough, and if I do not perceive it clearly, then what? Our standard example of rope and snake. In reality, where there is rope, we mistake it to be a snake, and then you can imagine what can happen. If we proceed towards that with our unclear understanding and or perception, then you can imagine what will happen. So that doesn't work. Knowledge has to be definite, bereft of all the doubts, lack of clarity, vagueness, suspicions. So that is indicated by which prefix? Ni. Okay? Upa and ni. Now we come to the very verbal stem, which is that sada. This verbal stem sada has three meanings. Which are they? First is gati. Keep this in mind. First is gati. Second one is visharanam. Third one is avasadanam. All these three are going to have their meanings in this. So sada means take gati. Gati means it is going to take you somewhere. Where is it going to take us? Param Brahma Gamayati. It is going to take us to Brahman. Who is this Brahman? My very self, from whom I have, what shall I say? Due to ignorance, I am removed far away from my very nature. Ignorance has done this. The distance between me and myself, the distance between my true nature, distance is created by ignorance. By ignorance, this distance is created. And that will be removed by this knowledge. By the knowledge of Upanishad, this distance that is created today between me and myself, and that has created havoc in our journey from lives together. This is not the question of just this life. As Mandukya Upanishad says, Karika says, Anadi Mayaya Suptaha. We are steeped in ignorance, not just from this one or two lives. It has been going on since how many lives? Beginningless lives, infinite time. This has been going on. And therefore, the impressions of ignorance are also deeply rooted. So what this Upanishad, what this Vidya is going to do, it will take me to myself. Like that prodigal son returning back, once he comes to know. Similarly, Param Brahma Gamayati, it will bring me to myself. How? By removing the ignorance, by making the revelation. Upanishad comes with a big revelation. And what is that? You are what you are seeking. You are what you are seeking. You are what you are trying to become. You are already what you are trying to achieve. It's not it is such an important thing. You mean to say, I'm already what I'm seeking in my life? Yes. Will I not have to wait for some time? No. As Swamiji says, here and now. There is absolutely no time, no intervention of time. Here and now. What remains is, I just have to understand this well. And Shravanam, this comes in our life when we expose ourselves to Shravanam. So far I thought myself to be helpless creature. And here Upanishad comes with this mind-boggling statement, Tattvamasi. It appears difficult to swallow. It appears very difficult to swallow. You mean, Swamini, I am already Brahman? Limitless? Infinite? Yes, it is difficult to swallow, but yet the truth. Why? Because it comes from Pramana. It comes from Vedas, which are nothing but out-breath, like Nishvasa of Ishvara. This statement is not coming from any Tom, Dick and Harry, like me and you. It comes from Vedas, which are nothing but Asya Mahato Bhutasya Nishvasitam. Yadeta Durugvedaha, Yajurvedaha, Samaveda, which means this has come from Ishvara. And he is saying this, that you are what you are seeking. Nothing more profound than this. As Swamiji, Swamiji says that he was talking about when he attended the course. And he said on the third day of the course, when he was learning from Pujya Swamiji, then on the third day of the course, a miracle happened. And what was that miracle? When Pujya Swamiji, Swami Dayanandji Maharaj told him means all the students who were attending the course, you are what you are seeking. It was a big revelation that I am already what I have been seeking in lives together. Yes. So this miracle. So this, the meaning, the very first meaning of the verbal stem sad is gati. It takes you to yourself. The second meaning is visharanam. Visharanam is shithili karane, which means what? It loosens. It loosens in the beginning, when it is said, it is difficult to understand, to believe. But more and more we expose ourselves to this teaching, then we will find that the impressions of ignorance begin to loosen. Slowly but surely. Remember this. Slowly but surely. In some cases, it may be very fast also. Depends on how much work we do. But it definitely loosens the knots which are there due to ignorance. Sometimes the thing is knotted. And then it is difficult to open. But then slowly when you minutely work upon it, then you can open the knots. First of all, it gets loosened and then opens. Similarly, when you hear this day in and day out, Paunaf punyena shravanam kuryat. It is said, day means constantly. Expose yourself to this. Last night Swamiji said, if you remember, Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. May you never be indifferent towards Swadhyaya. Means study. Why? Swamini ji, I already know. All the Upanishads have same thing to say. More or less the same thing. So need not study it every day and need not go through all the Upanishads, because the subject matter remains the same. This is complacency. This is overconfidence. Why? Because as as Swamiji used to tell us, that some students say, I have learned all the Upanishads. Now only the Upanishad which is left is Brihadaranyaka. So I'm not a big one. And I have only that to study. The rest, I have gone through rest of the Upanishads. Then what was the reply, But have the Upanishads gone through you? You may have gone through them. But have they gone through you? Why? So even though they remain the same, but they have to go through us. Otherwise, the words remain where they are. They have to impact us. They have to transform us. You are Brahman, we constantly hear. But is it capable? Is it changing my thinking pattern or not? Is it changing? Is it bringing about that metamorphosis in my personality or not? Without that, reading about it or listening to it may not be enough. So it has to change me. It has to bring about that change in my total thinking pattern. Today, our thinking pattern is influenced by what? It is influenced by ignorance. And the effects of ignorance. I am limited. I am man. I am woman. I am different from all of you. I have to achieve this, that, different from Ishvara. This is the root from where all my thoughts are arising. And they impact me all the time. Unless I totally deracinate this, unless my thinking pattern completely changes, it won't work. Understand that today, the foundation of our life, the edifice of our life is built on a wrong, not only wrong, but shaky foundation. How is it going to survive? What is the foundation? I am a mortal being, limited, different from others, bound by time, bound by space, bound by limitations of thousands of kinds. This is the foundation. This is the edifice on which my life stands. And here there is no change. All my thoughts arise from this. And we are nothing but what we think. As the mind, so are we today. So unless I bring about a change in the mind, mana eva manushyanam karanam for bandha and moksha. And as long as the mind is ignorant, what are you going to do? There will be no progress. Therefore, there has to be a change in the thinking pattern of my thinking pattern. And as I said, the thinking pattern is so much influenced by all the wrong samskaras that it is not easy that they will go away tomorrow. Lot of work is required. Ashwattamenam suvirudamulam. Lord Krishna makes it very clear. Ashwattamenam suvirudamulam. These roots are very deep and deeply entrenched. So, this Visharanam has to happen, which means the more and more you expose yourself to this, every time some notions get dropped. You get more and more clarity. It may appear as if it is not working, but don't think that. Never think that. These are the words of Ishvara, and moment we expose ourselves to it, it will work. It gives a dent to some of my notions. And how long should I do this? That is also a very big question. How long should we study? How long? We have been studying for past 15 years, 20 years, whole of our life. That is not the criteria. That is not the criteria. The ignorance has to go completely. And for that, give as much time is required. As much time. What is to be kept in mind is that, is my thinking in alignment with Upanishad or not? What is my perception of myself today? Check this every moment. What am I thinking of myself? What is my perception? Is it that I am a human being? Is it that I am a woman? Is it that I am a mother, wife, this, that? To play the role is one thing, but not to know the actor is another thing. Playing the roles is fine. You mean to say, Swaminiji, we stop playing roles? No. Play all the roles by all means. But after knowing the actor, after knowing the identity, the true identity, and unless you are well abiding in that, till then this is to be continued. This is to be continued until you discover that spontaneity. Spontaneity is the name of the game. And what is meant by spontaneity? Without reminding myself, I very well abide in the knowledge that I am Brahman. I am everything. I am everything as well as I transcend everything. You know what I mean? I am everything as well as I transcend everything. First level of knowledge is what? I am everything. Everything. Sarvatma. Matstani sarva bhutani. Everything is in me. This is the first level of knowledge. And what is the base of this? That I transcend at the same time. Which means this is all apparent. This sarva, this entire creation is also apparent. I have not become all this. My reality is what? Transcending all this. So until we reach this point, I'm pervasive, all pervasive, I'm immanent, as well as I transcend. Until this is very clear, crystal clear, hasta malakavat. Unless this happens, until this happens, we continue to pursue this. Again, to talk to you about an event, not event, but what happened. Just as Swamiji, when he was attending the course, Pujya Swamiji told them, all the students, that what I'm telling you today, that you are Brahman, the same thing I will tell you for all the 3 years. All the 3 years, you are Brahman, you are Brahman, you are Brahman. That will continue until the end of the course. But every time, every time it is different. Every time words remain the same, sentence remains the same. But who changes? I change. I change. And the day will come and a time will come when it will be my reality. My reality. My nature. Even now it is my nature, but a nature which I have not owned up. I have not owned up this nature. Imagine what an irony is our life. What an irony that We do not know who we are. Can there be more tragedy than this? To spend not a life, but lives together, not knowing who we are. Not an ordinary thing. So, avasadhanam has to happen. Gati, Visharanam, and avasadhanam. Third meaning of the root sad. So, avasadhanam means total destruction of ignorance. Total destruction. Until that happens, this has to go on and on and on. Then, now let me show you upa, ni, and this sadadhatu, verbal stem sad, which has three meanings. But if you have paid attention, then you will know that this sada is dental, sa, and it gets converted into palatal sh. How come? Because of the rule of conjoinment. When the raswani is followed by dental, just this is a grammatical point, but just for my pleasure I am saying this. That dental sa gets converted into palatal, and that is why in Upanishad, which word which we know, you find palatal sh. That is because of the rule of sandhi that has happened. Okay. Now, as I said, this word says four things. Upa, ni, verbal stem plus a suffix. There is a suffix in this word. So, this suffix, is quip pratyaya. Quip pratyaya in Sanskrit imparts a sense of agency to the verbal root. Okay? So, let me show you. Just as in English, we have certain words to which we apply suffixes, like the suffix er. There is this word called cook, which means one who cooks, or to cook. But cooking, one who cook means to cook, one who does that. Unless to that suffix er is attached, and then it gets dropped. So now for the cook who cooks in the kitchen, we understand. We do not call him cooker. What do we? That cooker is there, prestige, etc. That is there. But to the one who cooks, also we call him cook only. Why? We understand that he is a cooker. He is the one who cooks, which means that is applied and then it has got dropped. But it is successful in conveying the sense that he is the one who performs the act of cooking. Understood? Similarly, this word is derived from the verbal stum sad, which has these three meanings, but still it is verbal. It is still, unless and until it does something, it won't work. So this quip pratyaya means a pratyaya is applied, and the characteristic of this quip pratyaya is such a pratyaya, because you don't find inside, but it is there. Because the qualification of this quip pratyaya is that it is attached and then it gets dropped. It is attached and it gets dropped. But in the process, it has imparted the sense of agency, which means that now this Upanishad will do something. Unless that pratyaya, the suffix was attached to it, it won't do. So the verbal stem has to be converted into noun. It has to be converted into noun, and then it does something. Okay? So this much has happened. And the word Upanishad is formed. And then the word Upanishad is formed. If you know this, then you, from the very utterance of this word, you come to know what it is all about. The subject matter and the kind of it and what it is going to accomplish. All this will be indicated, gets indicated rather by the very word Upanishad. Understood? Okay. This much. Then, all the Upanishads, all of them are found in the Vedas. It's working? Huh. All the Upanishads have their source in Vedas. And Upanishads are called Vedanta also. Vedanta is not something different from Veda. Vedanta has two meanings. Either it means both the physical end of the Veda, the positional name, because it is found at the end of the Vedas. And second meaning is the quintessence of the knowledge. All the knowledge, everything of the Veda, the entire subject matter of the Veda culminates into Brahma Vidya. That is why also it is called Vedanta. So Upanishad means Vedanta. Understood? It has these two meanings. Okay. As you all know, I'm sure, all the Vedas, all four Vedas have Upanishads in them. Just for your general knowledge, since you are learning all this, there are four Vedas: Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharvaveda. Tell me, which Upanishad is found in primarily speaking, which important Upanishad is found in Rigveda? Rigveda has Aitareya Upanishad, important one, Aitareya Upanishad. Then Samaveda. Samaveda has two important Upanishads, the one which we are learning in the morning, Chandogya Upanishad, and other one is Keno Upanishad. This is found in Samaveda. Then comes Yajurveda. Yajurveda has two recensions. Which are they? Shukla and Krishna. Shukla means white, Krishna means black. So there is black Yajurveda and white Yajurveda. Shukla, Krishna. The Upanishads, two important Upanishads which are found in Krishna Yajurveda are No, Krishna Yajurveda. Krishna. No, Taittiriya, right? And Kathopanishad. Taittiriya and Kathopanishad are found in Krishna Yajurveda. Yajurveda, right, but Krishna Yajurveda, which is very prominent in South. Then comes Shukla Yajurveda, which are two important Upanishads found in Shukla Yajurveda? Brihadaranyaka, right, and Ishavasya. Ishavasya, in fact, is Mantropanishad. And Brihadaranyaka is Brahmana Upanishad. Brahmana, which means the one which exemplifies, one which elaborates, is Brahmana Upanishad. So Ishavasya says it has only 18 mantras. And it is elaborated in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is very big. So this is Yajurveda. Then we come to Atharvaveda. Maximum number of Upanishads are found in Atharvaveda. Can you name a few? Mandukya, very good. Mundaka, Prashna, and our dear Kaivalya. So, maximum numbers: Prashna, Mundak, Mandukya, and Kaivalya. These are found in Atharvaveda. Now, Bhashyakara means Adi Shankaracharya ji, whom we very fondly and with respect call Bhashyakara. He has commented upon 10 Upanishads. From all the Vedas, 10 he selected and he has commented upon them. Isha, Kena, Kata, Prashna, Mundak, Mandukya, Chandogya, Aitareya, Taittiriya, Brihadaranyaka. Kaivalya is not in one of those 10. Not because it is not important, not because he did not think it to be worthwhile of commenting. No, it's not that. But as I said, Many Upanishads are found from in Atharvaveda, and generally speaking, the Vedas to which the Upanishad belongs, has the similar style, has a similar flavor, has a similar style of expounding the truth. And since already Prashna is there, Mundak is there, Mandukya is there, so he exempted Kaivalya, because the style remains the same in the Upanishads, in all of the Upanishads which come from the same Vedas, more or less the same, more or less. That is why he did not comment upon Kaivalya Upanishad. But there is another very important Acharya, that is Shankaranandaji. Shankaranandaji has commented upon Kaivalya Upanishad. Very beautiful commentary is there. By the way, Shankaranandaji is the teacher of Vidya Swami. You must have heard about him, the writer of Panchadashi, the author of Panchadashi. And Shankaranand, sometimes teachers are known by their students. So Vidya Swami is very important, very famous in the Shastra, in the fraternity. And his teacher is Sri Shankaranandji. And he has commented, there is a very beautiful commentary upon Kaivalya Upanishad by him, to which we will refer once in a while. So that is Kaivalya. It's a very short Upanishad, relatively short Upanishad, consisting of 24 mantras. Just 24 mantras are to be found. But all the 24 mantras are supposed to be very, very potent. That is why it is said that if everyone recites this mantras every day, then it has the capacity to purify you, to heal you. It has that capacity. No matter, even if you do not understand the meaning of the mantras, but even then it will be, there is a mantra in the Upanishad which says that if you do it every day, if you recite, chant this mantra every day, then it transforms you. Why? Because these mantras are so powerful, so potent, so pious, that the mere utterance, mere recitation of it also does its work and transforms your mind. By purification is meant that. And specially it is that this is to be recited every day, is specially recommended for sannyasis. Everybody should do, but it is mandated, means sannyasis must do it every day. That is what is said about these mantras. That is Kaivalya Upanishad. And it is also, as we find in many other Upanishads, most of the Upanishads, dialogue between the teacher and the student. Most of the Upanishads, of course, not Isha, not even sometimes in Brihadaranyaka, but otherwise we find that Upanishad has a setup of the dialogue between teacher and the student, which shows that this is not mere academics. There are really such students. They approach the teacher and then they come to know from them. So this Kaivalya Upanishad also is in the form of dialogue between the teacher and the student. And here the student is a very big person. Here the student is a very big Acharya himself, Acharya of Rigveda. He himself, but of course he knows the Karma Kanda and Upasana section, etc. But he, such a big person, he also approached the teacher. And who is the teacher here? Brahmaji. We will be seeing that. Here the teacher is Brahmaji. And he is approaching him and asking questions. See, here always the first teacher, in our Shastra it is shown that the first teacher is not a human being. First teacher is not a human being. He is either Dakshinamurtiji, which is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, or Narayana, or Brahmaji. So it is very easy to put faith, to put our trust in them. Because always there is who is the first teacher? Why should I believe you? What is the source? from which this knowledge is coming. So here the teacher is Brahmaji. Okay? Then the nomenclature of this Upanishad is Kaivalya Upanishad. Nomenclature means the name. The name is Kaivalya Upanishad. Kaivalya means what? Kevalasya bhavaha Kaivalyam. Kevalasya means what? Absolute oneness. Kaivalya means absolute oneness. It also means freedom. See, here also, Upanishads is saying something totally against what we think. Our life is steeped in duality. Is steeped in duality. I am different. You are different. Everybody is different from each other. Then Ishvara is also different. Nama, Rupa, Karma. Creation is this three. Trayam Vaidam. Nama, Rupa, Karma. This is what we... And nothing is similar. Our two earlobes are also not same. No two persons' fingerprints are the same. That is why they choose this. So much of disparity is found in the creation. And here comes Upanishad and says there is absolute oneness. Non-duality in the true literal sense of the word. There is nothing but one. One in the form of this so-called disparity. One actor in this different veshas, in this different guises, in this different names, forms and karma. Who is appearing? Is this disparity? Is just one. One entity. One entity, call it Atma, call it Brahma, call it Chaitanya, call it Chitihi, call it Samvit. There is this just one. So this is also a big revelation that we have to slowly proceed towards this non-duality. Because what is wrong with this? What is wrong with duality? Duality, just as variety is the spice of life, they say. Yes, but when I find that you are different from me, that difference in name and form, as long as it doesn't matter to me, is okay. But the difference is such that it is mutually exclusive. What I have, you do not have. And what you have, that I do not have. And this is what, pinches us. This is what creates unhappiness, jealousy, envy, limitation. You have something more than me. And so, what happens? You know very well. What happens? Without anything happening, already a dislike is created in me. Already, I don't seem to like you. Why? Because in front of you, I feel I'm inferior. All these complexes which we have of this kind, either superiority or inferiority, all this are nothing but all this is nothing but going to create some kind of unhappiness. This divides. This really divides where there is no real division. Where there is absolutely no division. That is why Upanishad, Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagatyam Jagat. It says, may you cover everything with Ishvara. We don't have to cover, it already is. We don't have to do it. Who are we to cover? It is already covered by Ishvara. But when Upanishad is saying, Isha Vasyamidam, you cover it, which means what? May you see that way. You are seeing something different which is not there. You are seeing these differences which do not really, differences are only at the superficial level. superficial level. And that too is apparent. Apparent means mithya. It is just an appearance. Just as all these ornaments are, they look different. There's only one. But chain or earring or ring are different in their names and forms. But what is appearing as chain? What is appearing as ring? Nothing but gold. In fact, this ring, this chain is, where does it survive? Where is it really? Only in name. It is just a name. Because in reality, what is it? There is a substance corresponding to gold. When I utter the word gold, there is this substance which corresponds to the word gold. But when I say necklace, is there a substance corresponding to necklace? What is the substance which corresponds to the word necklace? Gold. And if I take away gold from here, take necklace. Keep it with you. Keep the necklace with you. Keep the ring with you. I will take away the gold. Had the word necklace been real, then you could have gone away with necklace. But if I take away gold, I take gold. What will you have? Vikaro namadeyam. Vacha rambanam vikaro namadeyam. Name is only in the lips. It is just a name. Similarly, reality is gold. Similarly here, what is the reality? Chaitanya, Atma, Brahma, Ishvara. There is not an entity called Jiva, not an entity called woman, man, he, she, it, this, that. Take away Brahman. Vyatireka is not to be, we cannot do it, because how to take away Brahman? It is like removing the carpet from under my feet. It's not possible, but so Vyatireka Drishtanta is not easy to give, cannot be given. But removing Brahman, there is nothing. So Kevalasya Bhavaha Kaivalyam. There is just one. And if we do not know this, then mrutyosam mrutyumapnoti. Yeah, here naneva pashyati. Upanishads say elsewhere in Katha, Bruhadrane. What do they say? Mrutyosam mrutyum apnoti. If you do not know this, know what? Oneness. That there is one. If you do not know it, then what will happen? You will travel from one mrityu, one death, to another death. They have very, very brilliantly said, traveling from one mrityu to another mrityu. They could have said from one death to another birth, but Upanishad didn't say that. They could have, but they didn't say this. What did they say? From one mrityu to another mrityu. Why? Because without this knowledge, life is mrityu. Life is nothing but mrityu. So you will travel from one death to another death. Means this journey of seeking, of proving yourself, trying to prove yourself, trying to achieve will continue unless you know this oneness. So this is what is the subject matter of Kaivalya Upanishad. So with the prayer that Kaivalyatma prasidatu, may this one Atma, may this one truth shower its grace upon us during this 9 days, we conclude our talk. And from tomorrow, we will begin the Upanishad. But before that, we will do the Shanti Mantra also. How important it is to begin with a Shanti Mantra, that we will show, and quickly pass on to the Upanishad. Thank you. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I'm sure everybody has got this, so please bring it tomorrow with you.